Earth's oldest observatory recorded the first anomaly at exactly 3:47 in the morning, when Dr. Sarah Mitchell noticed something impossible happening in the outer reaches of the solar system. Space itself was bending. The distortion grew larger each hour, rippling outward like waves on a pond until massive shapes began emerging from what appeared to be tears. In reality itself, Admiral Beth Carter received the emergency alert while reviewing defensive protocols in her underground command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, humanity's most secret military installation that officially did not exist according to every government record. The alien fleet materialized with mathematical precision, their vessels arranged in a formation that spoke of absolute confidence and millennia of conquest experience. Each ship stretched over 3 kilometers in length, their hulls crafted from materials that seemed to absorb light itself, while radiating an aura of technological supremacy that made Earth's most advanced warships look like toys in comparison. Primitive inhabitants of Sol 3, your species has been evaluated and categorized. The message arrived simultaneously across every communication device on Earth. From military networks to children's tablets, the voice carried the casual indifference of a scientist cataloging bacteria samples, each word dripping with superiority that made humanity feel like insects being examined under a microscope. Overlord Kane introduced himself as representative of the Galactic Hegemony, a civilization that had conquered thousands of worlds across 17 different star systems over the past 10,000 years. Your technological development places you at level 2 on the galactic sentience scale, barely above primitive tool users and significantly below the minimum requirements for independent civilization status. Admiral Carter listened to the broadcast while studying tactical displays that showed the true scope of humanity's predicament. The alien fleet possessed enough firepower to glass every continent on Earth within minutes. Dr. Ann Walsh, Earth's leading expert on xenobiology and theoretical alien psychology, had spent months analyzing intercepted communications from scout vessels that humanity had detected years earlier. She understood immediately that this was not a negotiation or diplomatic contact. This was a classification process, like scientists labeling specimens before dissection. They have been watching us for decades. Walsh informed the Emergency Council meeting. Every human achievement, every technological breakthrough, every military exercise has been cataloged and evaluated by their standards. The hegemony's ultimatum was simple and absolute: submit to immediate vassalization and accept status as a servant species, or face complete extermination as a threat to galactic stability. Your crude chemical propulsion, primitive energy weapons, and laughable defensive capabilities have been thoroughly documented. Kane continued his broadcast. Resistance is not merely futile. It represents a fundamental misunderstanding of your position in the cosmic hierarchy. What Kane and his massive fleet did not realize was that humanity had been preparing for exactly this scenario since the first alien scout had been detected, penetrating Earth's outer defensive perimeter project. Prometheus had been humanity's most classified military program, hidden so deeply within black budget allocations that fewer than 50 people knew of its existence. While the aliens had been observing and cataloging humanity's apparent capabilities, human scientists and engineers had been working frantically to develop technologies that defied conventional physics. The key breakthrough had come from reverse engineering debris recovered from crashed alien probes, leading to discoveries that revolutionized human understanding of energy manipulation and space-time physics. Hidden shipyards throughout the asteroid belt had been constructing vessels using these new technologies, while Earth's surface installations continued operating with deliberately primitive equipment. Admiral Carter activated the most secure communication channel in human history, connecting her to secret bases on Luna, Mars, Europa, and Titan, where humanity's real military forces waited in absolute silence. They branded us as primitives based on what they could observe. She transmitted, "They never considered what we might choose to keep hidden." The alien fleet moved into attack formation, their weapons charging with energies that could sterilize entire planets. While humanity's visible forces appeared to cower in obvious terror, Kane's flagship began broadcasting surrender terms that would reduce humanity to slavery, unaware that every second of delay was allowing human forces to achieve final battle readiness. Deep beneath Earth's oceans, massive installations that had never appeared on any satellite scan powered up systems that would have been impossible using conventional human technology. The moment had arrived for humanity to reveal whether decades of secret preparation would prove sufficient against an enemy that considered them barely worthy of extinction. Send our response. Admiral Carter. Ordered. Knowing that the next few hours would determine whether humanity would survive as a free species or perish as a cautionary tale. The message that reached Kane's flagship was brief and carried the weight of an entire world's defiance. Humanity respectfully declines your generous offer and suggests you reconsider your position. Kane's laughter echoed across the void as his fleet prepared to demonstrate why countless civilizations had submitted, rather than face the hegemony's overwhelming technological superiority. What he could not have anticipated was that humans had spent their entire evolutionary history surviving as the underdog, and being underestimated had always been humanity's greatest advantage. The first phase of what would become known as the Liberation War was about to begin, and the galaxy was about to learn why predator species should never be dismissed as primitive A's. Warning klaxons sounded throughout the human fleet. Admiral Carter allowed herself a grim smile. The trap had been set, and their supposedly superior enemies were about to walk directly into it. Thunder rolled across Mars Colony 7 as the children finished their morning lessons. Unaware that their peaceful red world was about to become the first battlefield in humanity's fight for survival, Kane's response to humanity's defiance came in the form of plasma bolts that screamed through space with enough energy to vaporize entire city blocks, aimed at what his scanners identified as major population centers. The first impossibility occurred when those devastating weapons missed their targets by hundreds of kilometers, as if the universe itself had suddenly forgotten the basic laws of ballistics. Lieutenant Dan Harper monitored the engagement from his position deep within Luna Base Alpha, watching through sensors that should not have existed according to human technological development. Phantom Protocol is fully operational, he reported to Admiral Carter. Their targeting systems are tracking ghost signatures, while our real positions remain completely invisible to their sensors. The alien fleet's confusion was immediate and profound. Their weapons, which had obliterated countless worlds with mathematical precision, were suddenly firing at empty space while human settlements remained untouched. Commander Eva Singh launched from the hidden hangar bay, concealed within the asteroid series, her fighter craft emerging from what appeared to be solid rock through holographic camouflage that bent light like liquid. Her squadron consisted of vessels that defied every assumption about human aerospace engineering, ships that moved without visible propulsion, turned at angles that should have liquefied their pilots, and accelerated beyond what their apparent mass should have allowed. The quantum torpedoes she carried had been designed by teams of physicists working with technologies reverse-engineered from captured alien components, creating weapons that existed partially outside normal spacetime. When those torpedoes struck the hegemony flagship's shields, they simply phased through the defensive barriers as if the shields were nothing more than colored light. The explosion that followed sent shockwaves through Kane's entire fleet as their most powerful vessel, thought to be invincible, began breaking apart in a cascade of secondary detonations. Impossible. Kane's voice crackled across emergency frequencies. Their energy signatures barely registered above background radiation. How can they possess weapons capable of penetrating hegemony shielding? Dr. Walsh monitored the battle from her mobile laboratory hidden within the Kuiper Belt, analyzing alien communications and tactical responses in real time. They classified us based on deliberate misdirection, she transmitted to human forces. Every capability they observed was carefully crafted to appear primitive while concealing our actual technological development. The tide of battle shifted as human vessels throughout the solar system revealed their true nature, dropping camouflage that had hidden their presence for months. Ships that had appeared to be simple cargo haulers suddenly bristled with weapon systems that defied conventional physics, while defensive platforms thought to be communication relays opened fire with energies that warped space itself. Captain Ross Blake commanded the destroyer Phoenix as it emerged from Jupiter's radiation shadow, his vessel's adaptive armor shifting configuration to optimize defense against incoming plasma fire. The hegemony fleet found themselves facing an enemy that fought unlike any species they had encountered in 10,000 years of conquest: human. Tactical coordination operated on principles that seemed chaotic to alien observers, but proved devastatingly effective in actual combat. Instead of rigid formations and predetermined strategies, human crews improvised constantly, adapting their tactics to exploit weaknesses discovered during battle. Their command structure makes no logical sense, reported Kane's tactical officer. Individual units operate with complete autonomy while maintaining perfect coordination. It defies every principle of military organization. What the aliens could not comprehend was that humanity's greatest advantage lay not in superior technology, but in their ability to think creatively under pressure. Human crews were rewriting their combat software during active engagements, modifying weapon parameters to overcome alien defenses, and developing new tactics faster than their enemies could adapt. The quantum torpedoes proved particularly effective because they had been designed specifically to counter the type of energy shielding the hegemony employed. Each torpedo existed in a state of quantum superposition until the moment of impact, allowing them to bypass defensive systems that could stop conventional weapons. Admiral Carter watched the tactical display as Kane's supposedly invincible fleet began suffering casualties at an impossible rate. Phase 1 objectives achieved, she announced. Enemy force reduced by 37%, their tactical coordination disrupted, and their technological superiority negated. The psychological impact on the remaining hegemony forces was profound. For the first time in their civilization's history, they faced an enemy that appeared weaker but fought better. Kane's fleet began withdrawing toward the outer system, their confidence shattered by contact with humans who refused to follow the established patterns of conquest. "This is not over," Kane transmitted as his damaged flagship limped away from Earth. "The Galactic Council will not allow this aberration to continue." Admiral Carter's response was broadcast across all frequencies. "Tell your Galactic Council that humanity is no longer accepting applications for conquest. We suggest they update their classification systems." The first alien armadas retreat marked humanity's emergence as a spacefaring military power, but Dr. Walsh's analysis of intercepted communications revealed an ominous development. Multiple alien civilizations received detailed reports of our capabilities during the engagement. She warned, "We can expect additional attempts at conquest, probably by forces specifically equipped to counter our revealed technologies." The victory celebration was brief, as long-range sensors detected massive energy signatures approaching from the direction of Alpha Centauri. The second wave was already en route, and humanity would need every advantage they could develop to survive what promised to be an even more dangerous encounter. News of humanity's impossible victory against the hegemony traveled through subspace communications faster than Kane's retreating fleet could reach safe harbor. The Dominion intercepted those transmissions while their massive armada was still 3 light-years from Sol system, giving Admiral Rex Volt precious time to analyze every detail of the human tactical response. Unlike Kane's arrogant assumptions, Volt approached the situation with the cold calculation of a predator that had survived by never underestimating dangerous prey. His fleet consisted of vessels designed for prolonged siege warfare rather than quick conquest. Angular ships bristling with long-range bombardment systems and heavily armored to withstand extended combat. The humans revealed significant capabilities against the hegemony. Volt addressed his senior officers during the final approach to Earth's solar system, but they showed only what was necessary to achieve victory. "We must assume they possess additional hidden assets," Dr. Walsh detected the Dominion fleet's arrival through gravitational sensors that measured the distortion caused by their massive vessels dropping out of hyperspace beyond Neptune's orbit. The enemy had learned from Kane's mistakes, positioning themselves at maximum weapon range while remaining outside the zone where they had witnessed the hegemony's destruction. Admiral Carter reviewed intelligence reports that painted a disturbing picture. The Dominion had been observing human activities for decades, not months like their predecessors. "They know about our hidden installations," she informed the Emergency Council. Their scouts have been mapping our defensive network since before we detected our first alien contact. Captain Blake studied the enemy formation through enhanced telescopic arrays, noting the methodical spacing that suggested professional military doctrine. These are not conquerors, he observed. These are exterminators. They plan to eliminate humanity as a threat, rather than attempting subjugation. The Dominion attack began with systematic bombardment of human colonies throughout the outer system, targeting infrastructure with surgical precision rather than population centers. Their strategy was brutally simple: force humanity to defend extended positions while gradually reducing human industrial capacity through attrition, mining facilities. On Europa erupted in brilliant explosions as Dominion missiles struck with mathematical precision, while research stations throughout the asteroid belt vanished under concentrated fire. Admiral Volt's methodical approach proved devastatingly effective as human forces found themselves responding to attacks across multiple fronts simultaneously. They are not seeking quick victory, Dr. Walsh analyzed from her mobile laboratory. They intend to bleed us slowly while staying beyond the range of our most effective weapons. The human response required revealing capabilities that had been held in absolute reserve since the first alien contact deep beneath Earth's oceans. Massive installations that existed in complete secrecy, powered-up systems that operated on principles beyond conventional physics. Battle stations the size of small moons emerged from holographic concealment throughout the solar system, their existence hidden by technology that warped light around their hulls. Commander Singh found herself leading an entire battle group instead of a single squadron, her forces consisting of vessels that dwarfed anything humanity had previously constructed. The Phoenix-class destroyers moved with impossible grace for their size, their hulls shifting configuration in real time to optimize for different tactical situations. Resurrection protocol is active, Singh reported as her flagship engaged 3 Dominion cruisers simultaneously. All units are operating at full capacity. The most shocking revelation came when ships that had been destroyed in the previous engagement suddenly reappeared with full operational status. Human nanotechnology had advanced far beyond what even Kane's intelligence services had detected, allowing rapid reconstruction of damaged vessels using automated systems. Admiral Volt watched in growing alarm as his carefully calculated force ratios became meaningless against an enemy that could replace losses faster than he could inflict them. How many vessels do they possess? He demanded as another supposedly eliminated human ship opened fire from an impossible angle. The answer became clear as hidden shipyards throughout the asteroid belt revealed themselves, having been constructing warships continuously since the first alien scout had been detected. Human manufacturing philosophy prioritized rapid deployment over traditional construction methods, allowing them to field new vessels within hours rather than months. The modular design approach meant that human ships could be reconfigured for different mission profiles during active combat. Adapting to changing tactical situations, Dominion forces found themselves facing an enemy that seemed to multiply rather than diminish under sustained attack. Their construction methodology is unlike anything in our databases, reported Volt's intelligence officer. They appear to be building ships faster than our strategic models indicate should be physically possible. The revelation that humanity had developed self-replicating manufacturing systems came as a profound shock to alien observers. Human engineering teams had created automated factories that could construct new vessels using raw materials harvested from asteroids and space debris. The psychological impact on Dominion crews was severe, as they realized they were not fighting a fixed enemy force, but a civilization that grew stronger during combat. Captain Blake's destroyer Phoenix demonstrated the full extent of human adaptive technology, as it engaged 6 enemy vessels without sustaining permanent damage. His ship's hull regenerated from battle damage using nanotechnological systems that rebuilt damaged sections stronger than before. They are learning from our weapons, Blake observed as his defensive systems automatically adjusted to counter Dominion targeting algorithms. The battle for the outer solar system evolved into a grinding campaign of attrition, but the mathematics favored humanity's exponential production capacity. Admiral Volt found his methodical strategy failing against opponents who treated losses as temporary setbacks rather than permanent reductions in fighting strength. Recommend immediate withdrawal to minimum safe distance. His tactical staff advised, current engagement parameters are unsustainable, but retreat was no longer a viable option, as human forces had quietly surrounded the Dominion fleet during the extended engagement. The trap had been closing gradually, using the aliens' own cautious positioning against them by creating multiple overlapping fields of fire. "This is Admiral Carter of the Terran Defense Force," came the transmission that sealed the Dominion fleet's fate. "You are completely surrounded, and have 30 minutes to power down your weapons." Volt realized with growing horror that humanity had used his own tactical superiority as bait, allowing him to believe he was winning while positioning forces for a decisive engagement. The battle for Neptune's orbital space raged across 6-dimensional planes, as human forces demonstrated technologies that existed partially outside conventional reality. Admiral Volt's methodical siege had collapsed into chaos when he discovered that humanity's defensive positions were not fixed installations but mobile platforms, capable of relocating through folded space. Lieutenant Sarah Kim coordinated targeting solutions from her position aboard the heavy cruiser Defiance, watching as enemy formations dissolved under weapons fire that ignored traditional physics. "Their shields are adapting to our energy frequencies," she reported to Captain Blake. "But our countermeasures are evolving faster than their defensive algorithms can compensate." The Phoenix engaged a Dominion battleship 3 times its apparent size, demonstrating the full potential of human adaptive architecture. Blake's vessel reconfigured its hull geometry during combat, presenting different defensive profiles to multiple attackers while maintaining optimal firing solutions. Hull integrity, holding at 97%. His engineering officer announced, "Adaptive armor is distributing impact energy across regenerative nano-lattice structures." What appeared to be battle damage was actually controlled metamorphosis, as the Phoenix optimized its configuration for the specific threats it faced. Dr. Walsh analyzed captured Dominion technology from her laboratory ship, discovering fundamental limitations in alien design philosophy. "They build for predetermined scenarios," she transmitted to Admiral Carter. "Their technology is superior within established parameters but cannot adapt to unexpected variables." Human military doctrine had evolved in the opposite direction, prioritizing flexibility over raw power and creativity, over standardized responses. Commander Singh's strike force had successfully infiltrated the Dominion fleet's formation, using captured IFF codes and modified hull configurations. Her ships appeared identical to Dominion reinforcements until they opened fire at point-blank range, eliminating 6 major vessels before the enemy could react. Phase displacement successful, Singh reported as her squadron vanished back into quantum superposition, enemy command structure compromised, and tactical coordination disrupted. The coordinated strike demonstrated humanity's greatest advantage, the ability to think and act outside established military doctrine. While Dominion forces operated according to protocols developed over millennia of conquest, human crews invented new strategies during active combat. Admiral Volt found his carefully planned formations crumbling as human forces attacked from directions that should not have been possible. They are not limited by 3-dimensional movement. His navigation officer reported with growing panic, "Enemy vessels are approaching through folded spacetime." The revelation that humanity had developed practical teleportation technology sent shockwaves through the Dominion fleet. Human ships could appear anywhere within the battle zone instantaneously, making traditional defensive positioning meaningless. "How long have they possessed these capabilities?" Volt demanded, as another impossible attack materialized from empty space. The answer became clear as human forces revealed the true scope of their technological development. Hidden research facilities throughout the outer system had been developing exotic physics applications since the first alien scout had been detected. Project Prometheus had been only the beginning. Humanity's real breakthrough had come from learning to manipulate the fundamental structure of reality itself. The quantum torpedoes were primitive compared to weapons that could alter the local flow of time or create gravitational anomalies that crushed enemy Ship's Captain Blake watched his tactical display as the battle evolved beyond conventional warfare into something resembling applied theoretical physics. Enemy flagship attempting emergency jump to hyperspace. His sensor operator announced, "Shall we permit their withdrawal?" Admiral Carter's response came immediately. "Negative. Activate dimensional anchor protocols and prevent their escape." The Dominion flagship found itself trapped in normal space as human technology locked down the local space-time matrix impossible. Volt's transmission crackled with desperation. No species possesses the ability to manipulate hyperspace entry points. Dr. Walsh's research teams had spent months developing exactly that capability, using principles derived from studying how alien vessels achieved faster-than-light travel. The dimensional anchors created stable reference points that prevented hyperspace transitions within their area of effect. Admiral Volt watched his escape route vanish as human forces demonstrated complete mastery over the battlefield environment. "Recommend immediate surrender," his tactical officer advised. "Current situation is tactically irrecoverable." The psychological impact on Dominion crews was devastating as they realized they were not facing a primitive species, but a civilization that had surpassed their own technological development. Human forces had not merely matched alien capabilities, they had transcended them through creative application of exotic physics. "This is Captain Blake of the Terran Defense Force," came the transmission that sealed the battle's outcome. "Your fleet is completely disabled and surrounded. Surrender immediately or face total destruction." The remaining Dominion vessels powered down their weapon systems in acknowledgement of absolute defeat. Admiral Volt's flagship transmitted surrender codes that had never been used in the Dominion's 1,000-year history of conquest. "How is this possible?" Volt asked during the formal surrender ceremony. "Our intelligence indicated that humanity possessed only primitive chemical propulsion and crude energy weapons." Admiral Carter's response carried the weight of humanity's triumph over two galactic superpowers. "You observed what we wanted you to see while we developed what you could never imagine. That was always the plan." The interrogation of captured Dominion officers revealed the existence of additional alien civilizations that had received detailed reports of the engagement. Multiple species are forming coalition fleets to address the human threat. Dr. Walsh informed the Emergency Council, "They consider us an existential danger to galactic stability." The victory over the Dominion marked humanity's emergence as a major spacefaring power, but it also painted a target on Earth that would attract every aggressive species in known space. Admiral Carter reviewed strategic projections that showed dozens of potential enemies converging on human territory. "They branded us as primitives," she observed. "Now they see us as a threat to their established order. Prepare for total war." Saturn's ancient rings provided the backdrop for humanity's final confrontation with the combined alien fleets that had sought to crush what they considered an upstart species. The survivors of both the hegemony and Dominion forces had formed an unprecedented alliance, their traditional enmity forgotten in the face of what they now recognized as a fundamental threat to established galactic order. Admiral Carter surveyed the tactical display from the bridge of humanity's newest flagship, the Sovereign, a vessel that represented the culmination of human technological advancement. The ship itself defied conventional categories, larger than a battleship, but more maneuverable than a fighter, constructed using principles that merged matter and energy into something beyond traditional engineering. Dr. Walsh monitored alien communications from her enhanced laboratory suite, analyzing the psychological profiles of enemy commanders who had never faced defeat. "They are terrified," she reported to the command staff. "For species that have conquered thousands of worlds, the concept of losing to primitives represents existential horror." Kane's damaged flagship limped alongside Volt's command vessel, their combined fleets representing the largest concentration of alien military power ever assembled in human space. "We understand now that you deceived us," Kane transmitted across all frequencies. "Your primitive appearance was deliberate misdirection designed to make us underestimate your true capabilities." Captain Blake commanded an entire battle group from his position aboard the heavy cruiser Phoenix, watching as human forces demonstrated technologies that transcended the boundaries between science and magic. Confirmed enemy fleet strength at 273 vessels, his tactical officer Lieutenant Kim reported, but our force multiplication systems remain fully operational. The human armada that assembled for the final engagement bore no resemblance to the forces that had first encountered alien scouts years earlier. Ships with hulls that flowed like liquid metal moved alongside massive dreadnoughts that seemed to bend space around themselves. Automated fighter swarms accompanied vessels that could reconfigure their entire structure for different mission profiles within seconds. Commander Singh led humanity's elite strike force, her ships existing partially outside normal spacetime to achieve tactical advantages impossible through conventional means. All units report ready for phase final implementation, she transmitted. Quantum displacement protocols are stable and enemy positions have been triangulated. The revelation of humanity's true capabilities had been gradual and deliberate, each engagement revealing only what was necessary to achieve victory. Now facing the combined might of two galactic superpowers, humanity prepared to demonstrate the full scope of their technological revolution. This is Admiral Carter of the Terran. Defense Force came the broadcast that would determine the future of human civilization. You branded us primitives and demanded our submission. We are here to discuss different terms. Admiral Volt's response carried the weight of species-wide desperation. Your technology violates fundamental laws of physics. Such advancement should be impossible for a species of your developmental level. Dr. Walsh's research had confirmed what human scientists had suspected since the first alien contact. The established galactic civilizations had become technologically stagnant through millennia of conquest. They stopped innovating because domination became easy, she explained to Admiral Carter. They never encountered species that forced them to exceed their established capabilities. Humanity's greatest advantage had always been the ability to adapt and overcome seemingly impossible challenges when faced with technologically superior enemies. Human engineers had not merely copied alien technology, but improved upon it through creative application. The quantum field manipulators that powered human vessels operated on principles that the aliens had considered purely theoretical. Your weapons systems are beyond our comprehension, Kane admitted during the pre-battle negotiations. How did you develop such capabilities without our detection? Captain Blake's answer carried the pride of a species that had refused to accept defeat. We learned from every probe you sent, every scout vessel we captured, every transmission we intercepted. Then we built something better. The final battle commenced when diplomatic solutions proved impossible, alien pride refusing to accept humanity's emergence as an equal power. Human forces demonstrated coordination that operated beyond conventional military doctrine, individual units acting with perfect synchronization while maintaining complete tactical flexibility. The Phoenix engaged multiple enemy vessels simultaneously, its adaptive systems optimizing defensive configurations in real time while coordinating. With allied ships through quantum-encrypted communications, enemy formations are collapsing. Lieutenant Kim reported as alien tactical coordination failed under pressure from unpredictable human strategies. The psychological impact proved as devastating as the physical destruction as alien crews realized they were fighting an enemy that exceeded their understanding. Ships that appeared to be destroyed, reformed from quantum matter, weapons that missed their target somehow struck from impossible angles, and defensive systems that should have been overwhelmed adapted faster than attacks could be modified. Admiral Volt's final transmission carried the weight of absolute defeat. We surrender unconditionally. Your species has demonstrated capabilities that transcend our comprehension of possible technology. The combined alien fleets powered down their weapons in acknowledgement that further resistance was futile. Kane's last communication before entering custody contained grudging respect, mixed with existential dread. You were never primitives. This entire scenario was orchestrated from the moment of first contact. Admiral Carter's response would be recorded in the historical archives of every spacefaring species. We learned long ago that survival depends on being underestimated. You branded us primitives, but you forgot that evolution never stops. Dr. Walsh's analysis of captured alien technology revealed the scope of human achievement. In less than 5 years, humanity had surpassed civilizations with thousands of years of technological development. They stagnated because conquest became routine, she reported to the Global Council. We advanced because we faced extinction. Necessity drove innovation beyond what they thought possible. The aftermath of humanity's victory sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy as news of the impossible defeat spread among hundreds of alien civilizations. Multiple species are requesting diplomatic contact, Admiral Carter announced. They want to understand how primitives became apex predators, the age of human. Expansion into the galaxy began with a foundation built on the greatest military deception in recorded history. Earth had transformed from a primitive backwater to a technological superpower by turning their enemies' assumptions against them. The brand of primitives had become humanity's greatest weapon, allowing them to study, learn, and exceed the capabilities of species that had ruled the galaxy for millennia.